So it's my privilege that I have Dr. Parakala Prabhakar with me, and he's an Indian political economist and social commentator. He served as communications advisor in cabinet rank in the government of Andhra Pradesh from July 2014 to June 2018. For several years, he presented current affairs discussion programs on Telugu television channels such as Pratidhwani and Namaste Andhra Pradesh. And it's my privilege to welcome him to our little community radio show, Kehte Sunte. Welcome, Dr. Parakala. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you, Manbir. It's a pleasure talking to you, and I really appreciate your invitation to join your program, calling me up from the literally the other end of the world. So fascinating.
And I was surprised when you said yes, because I know you're a busy man. Every channel wants to talk to you, and you've been quite outspoken and almost you did a prediction that was one of the few that came to the party. And I'll come to that. But yesterday, Prime Minister Modi was sworn in for his third term. And you say that this NDA alliance is an opportunistic alliance, not an ideological one, and that Mr. Modi has never worked this way. However, so far, there have been no tremors, not big tremors in that as seen in the swearing in. Of the cabinet allocations, where do you think the Telugu Desam Party and the JDU are steering the alliance to, based on what you've seen so far, since you've worked very closely with Chandrababu Naidu in the past? I'd like to know your feelings and what is the evidence saying as of now?
Manbir, two things. One, of course, you can't find any outward manifestation of what is happening within the NDA yet, because they're all very mature, seasoned politicians. But I stick to my point. I stick to my point that this NDA government is unlikely to be a stable government, and I do not think it's easy for Mr. Modi to pass the floor test, because he's sworn in because he is the head of the largest formation.
Yes.
And within the largest formation, he's also the leader of the largest party. So it's quite natural for the President of India to invite him. But having been sworn in, now it is incumbent on him to prove his majority. That I think, I'm not saying that he won't be able to, but then I think it's not an easy thing. He'll have to satisfy many interests, unlike before. He'll have to, satisfy the demands for positions, ministerial berths, and of course, after that, the allocation of portfolios. Of course, he would like to keep the key portfolios, economic portfolios, and defense and home and industry, finance, commerce, and things like that for his own party, for his own people. And that's not easy for, as a bargaining. And of course, the speaker is another contentious thing. So these things will have to be navigated. These things will have to be negotiated. After that starts, if at all he survives, that then, of course, he'll have to negotiate with them on a daily basis almost. There'll be too many demands from the allies about to satisfy the regional interests and state interests and state demands and things like that. So there'll be a huge laundry list of demands. And as I said, the evidence so far for the last 22 years, since Mr. Narendra Modi became Chief Minister of Gujarat, starting his career in Gandhinagar up to New Delhi, he always ran a government of his own, not even a party government, leave alone an alliance government, and he is not used to reporting to a boss, reporting to a party boss, reporting to somebody, not just reporting, but even Manbir sitting with his colleagues and talking to them, getting their opinions or taking their suggestions, convincing them, carrying them along with him. That also he's not very much used to. And he's used to having his own way or highway kind of a thing.
Hmm.
So I think this is going to prove very challenging to him.
Hmm. And the size of the cabinet, about 72 ministers, uh, does that show insecurity? Do you think uh, that is a
That's
sign?
inevitable. That's an inevitable, Manbir. You're not running your own government now anymore. You're not running a BJP government. You're running a coalition government. You'll have to accommodate everybody who is contributing, because you see the BJP fell short of by 32. They're just for 240.
Hmm.
And you see, more than the number, Manbir, it is the message that the electorate had given.
Hmm.
And please keep in mind, we are not dealing with analysts. We are dealing with very hardcore, hard-nosed, seasoned, very experienced politicians.
Hmm.
They are very good at reading, what is the message that is there in the verdict.
Hmm.
So once they see that, the man who strode the Indian political scene like a colossus for about 10 years is now suddenly uh, punctured, and he's reduced, and his own majority has considerably gone down, and he trailed for a while during the counting. And his victory in his own constituency was very labored. It
Hmm.
was not an easy victory, and people say so many things about it. But let's not go into those kind of allegations or those kind of misgivings. But then let's take it that he won it, but he won it with a hugely reduced margin.
Yes.
And especially the verdict from UP
Hmm.
is a tight slap on the face, not only of the party, but on the prime minister and his agenda, especially
Hmm.
against the background of what the prime minister went on saying during the campaign.
Hmm.
हिंदू मुसलमान जो जो लोग ज्यादा बच्चे पैदा
ज्यादा
करते
बच्चे,
हैं, घुस
मंगलसूत्र,
पेट, मंगलसूत्र, मछली,
मुजरा।
mujra, all sorts of things. So
Hmm.
uh, the leaders of other parties have seen through it.
Hmm.
They know that this man is now a reduced person.
Hmm. And wherever he's campaigned for BJP candidates, they've lost in about 50% of the,
More than 50. Yes, yes.
which
You
is
know,
which is quite embarrassing.
very embarrassing. And then, look at what happened in Ayodhya, Faizabad.
Yes, amazing. That was an amazing thing. I mean, they were counting on the mandir, seeing them through the elections, but I think yeah, it's very heartening to see this level of democracy and the uh, enlightenment, I must say, of the Indian people in most cases. And how soon do you think before the BJP starts to poach people from the TDP or the JDU or even the India Alliance? Uh, because there is this undercurrent, people are talking about it, that abhi dekho tum 6 mahine mein ye majority ban jayenge BJP. And it's being said with pride, even though it goes against the democratic principles. But there is this sense of kar lenge hum. Do you think that that attempt will be made, and will it be seen through?
Manbir, that's a very interesting aspect of the entire thing. Now, you see, as far as the BJP supporters and so-called Modi Bhakts are concerned,
Hmm.
even during the elections, they used to say, whatever you do, whatever you say, आएगा तो मोदी ही.
Hmm.
Okay, that's one. They were unconcerned about the people's feelings, their misgivings, their misapprehensions, or their apprehensions, their fears. They're just not bothered about it.
Hmm.
They used to say, "Aayega to wahi aayega."
Hmm.
Then they also went to the extent of saying that we know how to win.
Hmm.
Okay. Then you see when the election commission stood completely compromised
Yes.
and became almost an arm of the government rather than an independent election commission, because the very manner in which the election commissioners were appointed after eliminating the role of the Chief Justice of India, they're all rendered as um like any other government secretaries.
Hmm.
And then the inflation of voting percentage
Hmm.
and the refusal of the Election Commission, even in the Supreme Court of India, to divulge the gross voting figures. So
Yes.
you do not know how many votes are counted and how many votes are polled. Suppose it is very well possible that 100 votes were polled and 110 votes were counted.
Hmm.
But then towards the end of it, they diverged the number. But many people suspect that divergence was after they really, did whatever manipulation they wanted to do. But that's a different thing. That we don't have. And another thing, Manbir, generally the people are aware, and other political leaders are also aware, is that out of the 240, about 30 constituencies were won by BJP with a very, very slender margin.
Hmm.
Another 50 or 60 were won by, about 2000 or under 2000.
Hmm. That's a
So
very
what does it mean? What does it mean? It means it mean that there's a huge message here. I'm not immediately suggesting that they were manipulated. Even if they were not manipulated, that is one apprehension. People are expressing that. But even if they are not manipulated, your win is just by a whisker.
Hmm.
Now,
But
this is one. The second thing, let me complete the questions that you've raised. So, uh, at any rate, they want to stick to power.
yes.
So they would like to stick to it. That is the reason why, they, without any shame, although this message is very clear,
Hmm.
that they're trying to tom this as a victory.
Hmm.
One. So they've sworn in. They would like to stabilize this, and they would like to, manipulate the alliance partners, break even the India alliance partners, and they'll try every trick in the book, and they've done it earlier.
Yes.
Karnataka they've done it, Maharashtra they've done it, Madhya Pradesh they've done it, many northeastern states they've done it. They tried to do it in Rajasthan but could not succeed. All these things they've done it.
Hmm.
And the same party, for instance, look at Telugu Desam Party. Telugu Desam Party's Rajya Sabha members
Mhm.
were broken and they were taken in 2018-19.
Yes.
So their current allies are also victims of that. So they will try. To what extent they will succeed, we can't say now. But I am sure, because you see, if BJP was strong with 272 or more than 272, doing these kind of things would have gone unchallenged. But now, if they start touching, say, Telugu Desam Party or JDU or any other party, the backlash will be very strong, because see they don't have enough strength to stand on their own. The BJP.
Yes. So, with your experience of having worked with Mr. Naidu, uh, and he's a hard-nosed politician. He's not a spring chicken. He knows his business. Obviously, he'll anticipate all these risks. It's not that he's not going to think about these things. And is that the reason that there were rumors that they are saying that they want to be in the home minister's chair or the speaker's chair? And do you see that happening? Because I mean, to turf Amit Shah is a big thing. To say that I'm going to sit in his chair, that's huge. It's almost like saying I want to be prime minister.
That's a big ask.
Hmm.
But Mr. Naidu or Mr. Nitish Kumar, as I said, they are very consummate politicians. They're
Yeah.
very experienced, they're seasoned. And they have seen ups and downs in politics. They've tasted defeat, they've tasted victory.
Hmm.
Unlike Mr. Modi, Mr. Modi always was on the winning side,
Yes.
willy-nilly. But these people have fallen, risen, fallen, risen, fallen, risen.
Mm,
and they know how to draw lessons from when they fell and when they rose. That's another one. And you know, these two leaders, they know how to make deals, strike bargains.
mm,
Uh, they're also good at give and take, and to convince people or get convinced or carry people along because they've seen adversity,
mm. Yes.
like Mr. Therefore, they'll be very, very cautious, and especially they know whom they're dealing with.
Mm,
So they will be very alert, is my guess.
yes.
And look at because you specifically asked me about Mr. Naidu. Mr. Naidu used to be part of NDA.
Yes.
In 2018, even under Mr. Modi, he was part of NDA. He was part of NDA during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time. But even with Mr. Modi, he was there. And 2018, he walked out on a very, very specific issue, that is the granting of special category status to Andhra Pradesh.
Andhra Pradesh. Yes.
Now, now people in Andhra Pradesh know that Modi is vulnerable,
Mm,
and Chandrababu Naidu's support is very, very important for Mr. Modi, which means that Chandrababu Naidu has leverage. He has the bargaining power. So if Ms. Chandrababu Naidu is not successful in getting special category status to Andhra Pradesh, how would he justify his continuance with Mr. Naidu and the I mean with Mr. Modi and with NDA?
mm,
So he will have a big ask. He'll have a big list of, say, special category status, funding for Amaravati, funding for Polavaram, Vijayawada Metro Rail, Visakhapatnam Metro Rail, Visakhapatnam Railway Zone, and so many other things.
mhm,
So these things, once you start, one ally starts, once one ally starts making these demands, other allies also start making their own demands,
mm,
and then there's going to be a scramble. And it's very difficult for BJP leadership and Mr. Modi to say no to these and have a sulking partners
mm.
in his cabinet.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Modi will not be very comfortable, getting up in the morning and, taking down a list of asks and before going to bed, just have a look at, how many have I fulfilled and how many are being carried forward for tomorrow. And this is something, and my feeling, Manbir, I tell you, these people can wear him down.
Mm, yeah.
You know, that that um, I am whole and soul, ek akela.
Mm.
That's
One
gone.
inch. Mm.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah. And I think for him to share the stage, share the glory, like the pictures that have started coming in, he's flanked by his two alliance partners on the side. I think that's going to be a big blow for him. Somebody who's been center stage. Mm,
You know, I remember very well this particular small video clip. Uh, Even during the campaign, I think he and Mr. Rajnath Singh were on the stage. A huge garland was brought, and they were about to garland, and Rajnath Singh was standing, and Rajnath Singh was quietly pulled aside.
mm,
He was ushered out of it. So the garland was only for Mr. Modi. Now imagine now a situation where Mr. Modi stands, and on either his side, he has Mr. Naidu and Mr. Nitish Kumar.
mm,
And can you imagine somebody coming and ushering these people away?
mm. Yeah, that'll be. I mean, I've
And
seen.
would you like to share the garland with the other two?
No. But I mean, Nitish Kumar seems enfeebled at the moment. I don't know. There's something wrong, with his body language. So I don't know what's happening there. There is something brewing. I don't know. I could be totally wrong because I'm seeing things from a distance. But if you were to write a headline of the election results, you've written books and you write articles. What would your headline be? How would you define this election? What headline
Uh,
would you give?
As I already said now to you, it's a tight slap on the face of Mr. Narendra.
Yeah. And you were one of the few, as I said earlier, who predicted that the BJP won't get their magic number. And this was based on your travels and meeting people. And I also know that you've got lots of data from the past. You're an economist, and you good at punching numbers and all that. But do you think there is a sustainable change in the mood of the country's people? Or do you think it was just the hot summer and too much politics that has turned the electorate off? Do you think this is sustainable, this change? What I'm saying is, will 2029 again swing back, if things are normal, as they say, all things being the same? Do you think 2029 will be back to 400?
This is a very interesting question, and which is an important question. I think it is for everybody in India who has, or anybody who has stakes in India, India's democracy, India's, the idea of India, plural, democratic, tolerant, secular India. This is a very important question. Manbir, I always felt this election is a black swan election, unlike the other elections where the traditional tools in this election have broken down. That is the reason why most people got this wrong, because they were looking at Narendra Modi versus who, BJP versus which party, NDA versus which alliance. If you look at this election, or if you had looked at this election, you're bound to go wrong.
Yes.
And that is why most seasoned observers I mean, you can't question their professional credentials.
No.
They got carried away, whenever they saw Mr. Narendra Modi, he looked like a Bahubali, you know. Uh, but, because of my travels and because of my interactions, in very, very early in the run-up, I've dropped the traditional tools, because I got the message that, no matter who the other side is, that it was going to be a fight between Narendra Modi and the people of India,
Okay.
a fight between BJP and the people of India, a struggle between NDA and the people of India. And my conclusion at that time, and I stuck to that conclusion, that finding, is the following: that in front of people of India, even a Bahubali-like leader, like Mr. Narendra Modi, will look like a Lilliput, look like a baby. In opposition to the BJP, which is very resourceful, it's an electoral juggernaut.
Yeah.
Even a resourceful party like BJP would look like a toy car. Even a huge alliance, formidable alliance like the NDA, would look like a bunch of headless, clueless chickens. And that's what has happened. This election, people have given a very clear verdict that they wanted to defeat BJP, no matter who the other person or other party is. And they in many places, in most of the places, they voted very tactically to the party which is in a position to defeat. They did not waste their vote.
Okay.
So this is, if you keep this in mind, why did this come about? This came about largely, I feel here, largely because it is the civil society, that is the people of India who fought against this, not the political. The political parties,
If I
if
if I
they
can interrupt you there, and which is a very, very heartening thing to know, that the civil society, the people who feel for justice, and the abstract idea of the Constitution, that the Constitution is at risk. I saw that coming forth. Am I right there? Sorry.
You
Sorry
are
to.
right. Most people, you're very right. Most people thought, "Hey, who will care for secularism? Who will care for the constitution? Who will care for democracy?" People want, in fact, some people, when I started speaking that this is going to be a fight between civil society and the government, civil society and Modi, and civil society and BJP and NDA. They said, look, what are you doing? I mean, what are you saying? People are interested in whether they are getting 5 kilos of anaj or not, food grains. This is what they're interested in, a gas cylinder or something like that. They're
Mandir.
not, they don't care for the larger, values, but they do, Manbir.
Wow.
They do. They did. They did. They may not be able to express or articulate the way you do or I do,
Mm,
but in their own way, they've understood, look, these people are out to do something with
mm,
our rights, with our privileges, with our reservations, with our freedoms and with our liberty. I think people have got that message, and they also did not like this. I have a neighbor, and he doesn't belong to my religion, but we are good neighbors.
yes.
Why are these people trying to, divide us? And why are these people trying to, make us quarrel with each other, fight each other? You know, this has come about. I've seen that.
Okay.
Now, if the civil society organizations, I mean, it's the general feeling in the civil society. But, other than political parties, if civil society organizations do not work, continue to work, and consolidate this spirit,
Mhm.
then there is a danger of this slipping away. So one has to be absolutely vigilant about this. Let me add one more point, Manbir. You see, how did we arrive at this point in 2014 or 2019? It is as a result of a painstaking, long, arduous, hardworking, highly motivated cadre working throughout the country to generate this kind of a feeling of Hindu supremacy. All others can live here, but they have to live in subordination to the Hindus. This is the country of Hindus. It belongs to only Hindus.
Mm,
That kind of a narrative was was slowly and slowly injected into the population of the country.
mm.
So it has not come about overnight.
No.
Now, my point is, that poison to be taken out of the minds of the people, it will take, at least in my reckoning, at least about 15 to 20 years
Wow.
of dedicated work.
Mm,
I always said, wherever I went during the run up to the elections, that look, communal agenda has an army. Does secular agenda has an army?
no.
And I will sleep easy when secular agenda also has an army to combat the communal agenda's army.
Mm,
So unless we, somehow, organize an army for secular agenda, liberal agenda, democratic agenda, the idea of India, a tolerant India's agenda, then how can you make this secure?
mm.
So, therefore, and Manbir, you know very well that communalism is not new to India.
Yes, correct.
I'm not only talking about majority communalism, even minority communism in various
Absolutely.
forms, in various regions.
Yes.
Therefore, but it's all there. It was there. It is there. It will be there.
Mm,
I don't think communal agenda will become zero. And there's absolutely not a single person who advocates communal agenda. It will be there, they will be there, but they will be, they were so far till about 2014, they were overwhelmed. Now they are overwhelmed. They were kept in check.
mm,
So this needs to continue.
mm. And as you said, that the communal agenda will not die. It's not, but I think the way uh, it's been weaponized now, and especially with the speed that social media has given it, and the far-reaching effects. Like earlier, you had Doordarshan, and you couldn't say this on Doordarshan, but now that unchecked social media, you can say anything there. but that's been weaponized. And I think that's why it's very dangerous. But at the same time, what you have said is very heartening about civil society. And I see a small hope that people are seeing through this communal agenda, through Hindutva and that mandir politics. It's, as you said, it's been a tight slap. My only fear is, yeah, whether it's going to be sustainable. And as you rightly say, that there has to be a secular army and people making that concerted effort to drive out that poison. Um, so that's the BJP and the NDA, which is about, say, 3 or 4 parties. Coming to the India Alliance, which is, a smattering of many parties, that's even going to be harder to to put together, if you like, I think. And do you think it's going to last long? Because right now, yes, they have a common enemy. It's easy to fight a common enemy. Everybody's charged. And probably this momentum of this win, or at least the impetus that this election has given, will drive them for the next few years. But do you think that glue is enough to hold them together forever?
Well, that's an interesting way of looking at it, but I would rather look at it in a different way.
Mhm.
The danger is communalization of every political party. And the solution is secularization of every political party.
Mm.
You see? Well, as long as, you see, if BJP is not communal, you and I have no problem. If Mr. Modi is not a communal person who doesn't, give hate
Progressive.
speech, what's the problem? We have no problem. But if anybody in the India Alliance also tries to become communal, we have a problem. I have a problem, isn't
Yeah.
it? Therefore, the challenge is to, whether India Gathbandhan stays intact or not is not the challenge. The challenge is whether they will stay secular, they will stay liberal, they will stay democratic.
Mm.
That is the challenge. Now, having having said this, I must also add that don't expect any political party to be either communal or secular on its own. That's the supply side. If Manbir wants to be secular, fine.
Yeah.
But what if Manbir is compelled to be secular?
Mm.
Manbir has no political future if he turns communal.
Correct.
That is the demand side.
Mm.
If people do not accept Manbir, otherwise Manbir is a nice person, but he's a communal person. So therefore, I'm not voting for him. I would like to. I would invite him for a cup of tea.
Mm.
I would socialize with him. I'll sit with him. But then I will not have him as my representative. I will not have him to run my government because he's communal.
Yes.
That is the supply. That is the demand side.
Demand side. Yes.
I'm not expecting you to, out of your magnanimity, be secular.
Mm.
You are compelled. I mean, if the civil society compels political parties to be secular, they have no go other than being secular. So therefore, the challenge is not just to see, which party, continues to be with them or leaves them or joins them or comes out of them, whether they can stay intact or not. That is another question, which is at the superstructure level. But the question at the level of the base of our polity is, what is the demand?
Mm. Yes.
Remember that until 2014, not very many years before 2014, even BJP used to say that they were secular.
Mm. Yes.
Genuinely secular, not pseudo-secular, not like Congress, not like communist parties, but we are genuinely secular. We are also secular and all that. Remember? Now that has completely gone. No BJP leader says that they are secular anymore.
They don't
Over.
even use that word. Correct.
Instead, Manbir, most of the political parties, with a very few exceptions, honorable exceptions, they started saying that, we are also Hindu, but not like them.
Mm. Mm.
Earlier, BJP used to say, we are also secular, but not like them. Other political parties today are saying, we are also Hindu, but not like them.
Mm.
So look at the way the conversation has shifted, the discourse has shifted. I want that discourse to be, that balance to be restored.
Mm.
That every political party should be forced to say that we are secular, we are democratic, we are liberal, we are tolerant. Both majority fundamentalism, majority, um, you know, fundamentalism, bigotry, and as well as the minority fundamentalism, minority bigotry. Both of them will have to be, addressed.
Look, thank you, Dr. Paralaka Prabhakar, for your time. We are running out of time, and I must really, really appreciate your candor and your outspokenness, and the ability to articulate it so clearly that even I can understand. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope we can talk to you again in the future when things take a turn.
Thank you, Manbir. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to be on your platform. Thanks a lot.
This is fantastic. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you some other time again.
Bye-bye.